That's right. We are here for another Sports Extra on this Wednesday as the Packers get ready to take on the Washington Redskins. Boy, I tell you, it was a tough one out there at San Fran. What can these guys take away from that game that could help them against RG3 this week?
Yeah, I mean, very similar quarterbacks, Colin Kaepernick, Robert Griffin III. And even though RG3 had that knee surgery, he had to reconstruct 2 ligaments. And you saw there in the opener that didn't have the explosion, really didn't take off as a runner as much. I think that the Packers are still going to respect him as this world-class athlete in the open space. And I think you kind of have to. You have to treat him as an elite thrower, as an elite runner going into this game, because even though he did have that torn ACL, at any moment some players were saying he can get that back. If he gets that confidence back, he can be that weapon that he was last year.
You were out in San Fran. What was the biggest weakness for the Packers in that game?
It was the safety position. I mean, they really missed Morgan Burnett. He does so much on the back end that people just don't really realize. You know, that safety, and you saw that in Nick Collins before Burnett, he just kind of makes mistakes disappear. I mean, he covers so much space. He communicates. He lets everybody know what's going on around him. You take that player out of there, and Jerron McMillan had a lot of tackling issues. MD Jennings was a little hesitant, not as instinctive as Morgan Burnett as the leader of the secondary. Maybe they get Morgan Burnett back. He was back at practice. We'll see if he's there Sunday.
How about, so does that mean we're going to see Chris Banjo making an appearance at safety?
I think you absolutely could. I think if Jerron McMillan goes out there and misses a couple tackles, that they would, you know, put Chris Banjo in and give him a try. Undrafted guy, been around for a couple years, really looked good in training camp. One of those players that just kept making plays, and the Packers have shown if there's a player like that, they'll give him a chance. So I think McMillan might be on a short leash if Burnett can't go.
What about Lacey? Lacey obviously just wasn't feeling in the groove early in the game, picked up in the second half. Do the Packers need to turn to James Starks maybe to take some of the load off there, because they don't want to put so much on this guy's plate? But you got to remember, he was a starter for 1 year at Alabama.
That's true. I mean, they view Eddie Lacy as this 3-down back that can carry the load, and he's a back that gets better with more carries. That is a player that they missed last year. They didn't have that guy. So I think that's what Mike McCarthy is saying, is they want him out there to be a 3-down back. But, you know, when James Starks came in after Lacy's fumble, he looked pretty good. I was surprised that he didn't stick around a little longer, so maybe you do see a little more James Starks. But overall, I think Lacy, they're going to give him the chances to starter for the time being.
Yeah, you got to pull from James Starks, the kid from Buffalo. Last one before we let you go. What do you see going in this game as far as the Packers getting the job done here at home?
I think that they can win this game. I mean, the Redskins are still working through some things. You know, Robert Griffin III, he didn't have any preseason, really didn't have a lot of training camp time. He's still getting back into rhythm with his receivers, so they're a little behind, and the Packers are at home. I think that they played well at San Francisco. I mean, the safeties didn't look good, but they did kind of control the trenches on defense, and that was a big sore spot in 2012. So coming back home, I'd be surprised if they lost this game.
All right, that's Tyler Dunne bringing it strong in the heat out here at Lambeau Field. We take a look at the new south end zone. Baby, sitting up top. I don't know if you can see the game real well.
It's high. It's high. A lot of new seats here. It's going to be loud.
All right, we're done.